Hi, thank you for joining me for another process video, and today is another day in September 2024, and today's prompt is to use a patterned 12 by 12. So you can see the paper that I've pulled out there. Once again, I'm ploughing through my Good Vibrations from Pretty Little Studio. I absolutely love this paper, and I've been meaningfully keeping it whole so that I could use it as a background paper. I must admit it is fairly neutral and close to white, which is my preference, but it works for the prompt, and it's given me the opportunity to actually use it rather than hoarding it. So you can see I've got a photo there, a 4x6 photo from back in 2016. I can't quite believe it was 2016. It's my two with Leanne's daughter, and we'd taken them on a sponsored walk with Leanne's church. So we were just waiting for everybody else to arrive, and they were goofing around, and I was taking some photos of them next to the trees. So I just wanted to get this into our album. So I've matted the photo on another scrap of the 12 by 12 paper, and then I used the bit that was left over to add an additional mat to the top left hand corner. And now I've just pulled out some of the ephemera pieces. I've got some frames going on the right hand side with a little journaling spot that I'll add my writing to, and then some floral bits on the left hand side to create a nice cluster there. So I'm just working out roughly where I want everything to go before I start gluing and sticking. But this is more or less it. I'm not quite sure about that have fun circle there, and I do in fact move that over in a bit and put the floral piece there instead. I've also got that lovely star at the top, and that just sort of finishes off that left hand side of the photo. So you can see I've put the photo slightly to the left, and then I've got all the bits coming down on either side from it. So I wanted to distress the edges ever so slightly, so I'm just using my fingernails to do that, just running them along all the edges of both pieces of paper. So doing the inner piece first and then this outer piece as well. And then I'm going to get that glued down. And once again, I've not used a lot of foam on this. I've used a tiny bit, but predominantly it's just flat on the page. So I'm using my T-square ruler to check that the photo is straight because that's not my forte, so having a tool to help me do that definitely helps. And then I'm just going to get that floral piece positioned before I add the title. So I'm coming in with my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive to get a lot of this glued down. It's just easier than faffing with the ATG gun on this layout. So there you can see that's where I switched out that floral. I felt the red jarred a little bit too much on that side, but I do put it down on the right hand side. So here's my title. I'm just going to add some foam to the left hand side, just where it overlaps the edge of the photo, just so that it's popped up the same height as the photo and doesn't sag in my album. Just checking that I'm happy with the positioning before I get that glued down. And then I'll add those other pieces. I am going to add a few bits of foam behind those leaves just to pop them up again, just to provide a little bit of dimension there. And then I'm going to glue down these other bits flat on the page just with my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. I'm not even distressing the edges or anything, they're just going straight down. So while I'm sticking all this down, please don't forget to check the description box down below. There's a playlist of everybody else joining in on this hop. I can't believe we're nearly at the end of the month already. September really seems to have flown in as I got back into the flow of things after the school summer holidays and our 2 holidays. I feel like I've not been here much. So just continuing to glue these bits down on the right hand side now, and I will bring my T-square ruler in again just to check that it is all straight. Once I've got the first couple of frames down, it's easier, but I just don't want these to be lopsided. There's not a lot on this page, so the elements that are on the page really do need to count this time. So getting this bigger piece stuck down, and I really am working my way through this collection, so I feel that I've justified getting the Pretty Little Sunshine collection next, so I'm looking forward to having a play with that pretty soon. And then there's the journaling spot, so it's just going to tuck in that little corner there, and then I will fill in the blanks to the left hand side of that as well. That just keep going piece is going to go down on top of that frame. That works really nicely, just overlapping the photo a little bit. And then here's that red circle piece that I said I was going to bring in, and it just fills in that little gap there a little bit. So I'm going to add foam pads to that again just to raise it up. So now I'm looking, and I feel like there needs to be something underneath the photo. First of all, I find this green ribbon, and I'm going to add a little ribbon loop to the left of the photo there, just above the title, and that really brings that green across the page that's in the photo there. And I think this was just ribbon on packaging actually. It's just one that I tucked into my drawer when I was tidying up. And then of course a tab at the top of the photo to add my date. So this is just using my EK Success tab punch. And then I had this piece of our lace left over from Hey Little Magpie. I buy this on a big roll and then cut it up into 2-meter pieces, and there was just a little piece left here, and it was absolutely the perfect size just to go underneath that photo and tuck underneath that Have Fun piece. So I'm just going to glue it down first of all, and then I am going to add some stitching using a linen thread that I've got just in my stash. So sticking that tab down, and then I'll add the date to that. And add my journaling to this little journaling tab there. And then I'm going to come in with some of the stickers. So first of all these ones, and straight away I find some little, a little word strip that says love this. And then another floral which is going to go into that cluster there, and that just creates a cluster of 3 flowers there, which works really nicely. And then another word strip that says you've got this. And then there are some little hearts, and I'm just going to add these inside each of the frames, just like little confetti pieces really on the page. So onto the next sticker sheet, I think, or did I find, yeah, I found one more piece. It says good vibes only, and it just overlaps that flower nicely. So I'm going to bring the date in now. I was all over the place with this layout. I went through one sticker sheet, then added the date, then I think I went through some others. I think I did, I forget now. So there we go, there's the date at the top of the page. Yep, here's the second sticker sheet. So I just find this little star here, which works nicely up there with that star, and then these word phrases, and I just find one tiny little one that goes under here that says what a day. So now that that's all done, here's that linen thread that I mentioned, and I'm just going to create little cross stitches across between each of the circles on the lace. You'll see what I mean in a minute. And I'm just using my needle to poke the holes, and then I'll thread the thread through. And I'll just secure it on the back with some washi tape. And I get it caught on that leaf quite a few times while I'm going through. I won't make you watch me doing all the stitches, but I'll just show you what I mean with the first stitch here. So there's the first cross in, and then I go through and poke all the holes actually before continuing with the crosses. So there's the last one going in, and then because I've got that thread at the bottom there and I've got plenty left on my needle, I decided that I want to bring up some up to the top. So you'll see in a second, I just create some running stitches across, sort of looping over this top frame, just doing exactly the same. So just sticking it on with some washi tape, and then I'll poke my holes and stitch those stitches. So there's the first one. At first I don't poke guide holes, but it's much easier if you've got those holes in the paper, so I go through and do that. And there's the last stitch. So I've got 5 stitches across the top there, and then I'm just going to go through the front of a couple of the stitches with this thread and tie a little bow, and that just creates a nice little bit of interest at the top of the page there. So just faffing to get that bow done. And then I'm going to tuck the ends of the bow under that sticker that says you've got this, and that just anchors it and holds it in place. So there we go, just cut off the tails, add a bit of glue to the bow just to keep it from falling apart. And the final thing to do is to add some black splatters with my Black Soot Distress Oxide pencil. So just adding some water to activate that, and then flicking the little dots over the page. I don't want too many, I just want them very tight around the photo. And that's the layout done. Thank you so much for joining me. I do hope I've inspired you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.